Science, they say, is about knowing. Engineering is about doing. As a matter of fact, it's about solving problems. On this note, I want to welcome you to this week's edition of Engineering and You. My name is Tunde. In case you are watching it for the first time, it's a program where we try to stir up the desires in young Nigerians to study science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and make a field for themselves, a living for themselves, as a matter of fact, in the field of engineering. This program is a very interactive one where we don't get to talk to you alone, but you get to talk to us also by asking our guests questions that are of interest to you, and also by answering our question and winning a prize. The program is sponsored by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, and supported by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch. And before we go on this very short break, I would like to read to you our question for the day, the question you get to answer and win. The prize of for this question is courtesy the sponsor, Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC. And the question for the day is, what is the common name of calcium sulfate dihydrate? What is the common name of calcium sulfate dihydrate? If you know the answer, you can call us. The number will be on your screen, or you can go to our YouTube page at OGTV Abeokuta, Facebook at OGTV, and Instagram, Ogun State Television, and you will get the prize if you are the winner for the day. So on this note, we would have to take a break right now, and my guest is already in the house, and the topic she'll be discussing with us is Embracing Engineering Development Program. And let's take this short break. When we return, I'll let you know who my guest is, and we'll get it going from there. Welcome back. My guest for today is Engineer Bosede Oyekunle. Engineer Modupeola Oyekunle holds a BSc in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from the University of Ibadan in Nigeria with several professional certifications. She currently works as Senior Instrumental and Control System Engineer with Delta Afrique Engineering Limited, and with experience in design, construction, procurement, management, among others. She on completion of his mandatory NYSC scheme in PHCN Yola Zonal Center in the Protection and Control and Metering Department, she started work at Pulpage Electricity Service in 2005 at Shell and other places. Let me go straight to, she's a registered engineer with the Council of the Regulation of Engineers in Nigeria, COREN, Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSC. She's Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, NIEEE, International Society of Automation, Society of Women Engineers, among so many others. I have to abridge this, because if I have to go on and on and on, all through this program, we will still be reading her citation. Welcome to Engineering and You.
Thank you very much, Tunde.
Before I allow you to go into your presentation, I'm curious. We hardly find women in this field. When you were choosing, why choose engineering? Okay,
so I'll say that in my case, I have a father who is an electrical engineer, who works with NEPA, or he started in those days of VCN. And one of the things that spurred me, even though I was in the science class while in the secondary school, was I met a woman in his office, and then I saw the woman talking to men and giving instructions, and I asked, who is this woman? Said, she's an engineer. I said, okay, I think that's what I want to be. And that was the spur moment for me. And I had conditions. Even though my father was an engineer, I had conditions that if you don't make A's in all your sciences, chemistry, physics, biology, you won't do engineering. And today it's a story for another day. I made those grades.
You made those grades, and obviously you are here.
I'm here, yes.
All right, let me allow you the topic for today, Embracing Engineering Development Program. What does it mean? What is it all about?
Okay, so basically what spawned that topic is majorly because of the teeming youth that we have and that we're trying to encourage to come into STEM. And one of the ways we look at our curriculum, we look at our structure and our educational systems, our institutions, is if we go the same way we're going by teaching theories, even to young graduates, if we go the same way by teaching theories, by not relating the theories with what actually exists in the community or environment, we won't go anywhere, we won't go far. Where does that lead us? That means that we need to embrace a developmental program, wherein even as an electrical engineer, my background is electrical engineer, by the time I started working, I was opportunity to work in a company that had a framework and model. By the time I started working, I had a stint of everything that happens, even outside my core engineering, electrical, civil structural, mechanical, chemical engineering. So I kind of went around to know what happens there, such that I become a better engineer. So in my thinking, if that had started from cradle, from all strata of life, then we would have more people doing STEM or into engineering. Yes.
Okay.
So basically, if you look at embracing engineering development program, it's when you look at engineering itself talks about you are applying scientific principles and theories into ensuring that you develop new technologies, you innovate solutions, you provide solutions, you improve quality of life. The key thing for engineering, the key infrastructure you want to talk about is what makes life, what gives us quality life. And that's, for me, that's what engineering is all about. You create and make actualizations of ideas. You give room for ideas to mature. You have a community for support and growth. For instance, the car helps us to move around. So you're talking about community, you're talking about environment. And then you now talk about, for me, the wrap-up of engineering is you should have a mentorship and a successful career path and plan. I looked at this program, Engineering and You. That means I should talk about what I do. That would make me to want to have more young people to do what I do. So when I tell people I'm a control system and automation engineer, and they look like, oh, because you rarely find such courses on the graduate level. So what you see is either someone that's done electrical or mechanical or chemical. They then move into their second degree and then do control and automation. So, I mean, in a simple terminology, it's like you have a device, you have an instrument, you have something, and you want it to work, you want to automate it. I like using this analogy, which everyone is used to. We all use water in the house. And one thing we know is, the way most of us know that water has finished is when water is not running any longer. And then when they call you, your mom calls you, boss said, go and switch on the pump, the water has finished. Then you go to the switch and you turn it on, and then the tank starts, you start pumping into the tank. And then how do you know that it's filled up? There's an overflow. Yeah. And they call you, boss said, that means it's filled up. Go and switch it off. Then you go and switch it off. But control and automation, what it does is, before the water from the tap turns off, before you don't get to have water in the house, you have a device inside your tank. For example, for a 1 liter tank, you have a device inside your tank, such that maybe when it's at 1/3 of the tank, then your pumping machine starts pumping automatically. So that means that there won't be no water in the house. There won't be such occurrences. And then when it gets to like 90% of the tank, then it automatically stops. There won't be overflow.
Okay.
So now move that into the oil and gas facility that we all know, because I work in that environment. Move into such location and environment and then see how that implies. That means that what I do, I make sure that there is no overflow, there is no spillage, there is no high temperature. You get the flow at the level you want it, you get the device, or you control the environment the way you want it. So that's basically what automation and control does. There are lots of advantage to it. Your productivity, increased productivity, you have less human error, even though there is still human interaction. So that's what I do. And I want more women, more young girls, yes, permit me to talk about them, to join me in this profession. It's fulfilling when you see things work with less interaction, but based on your skill and application. So to our core discussion, engineering development program. Basically, it's a program that provides design for manufacturability support, helps in choosing optimal manufacturing processes, materials, and saves costs, and then manages other constraints around it. When I say manufacturability, I'm not saying manufacturing alone. It cuts across every area, even from project management, from conceptualizing of a project, into even procuring an item. That means that irrespective of the engineering you're doing, you are putting all those stages into place. You are putting all those stages into key. That means that you have a youth or a young engineer that understands that what you are teaching me about Newton's law of motion is applicable with driving. It's applicable with friction. It's applicable, you know, so that's practicality. That's idea of being able to manufacture things. You start creating it while you are doing the theory. You start doing life practicals with things they can see in an environment. And then it's important we introduce it early, in the sense that let the students know that it's student-centered. Let the teacher know that the teacher also needs to tie the practical into what is around the environment. I washed my hair, and my son was using the home hand dryer to help me to dry. And I heard, while he was doing that, I heard him look at the hand dryer at the back, and he said, oh, so this is suction. That means he understood what suction is by realizing that the hand dryer sucks in normal air. There is an heater inside it, then it emits heat. So I felt so good that this is what we're saying, not teaching suction and then they don't know where to tie it into. So, I mean, it entails a lot of things. We are doing a skill development. We are giving them like an all-round introduction into every area that makes them a perfect engineer if we deploy the program to our youths. Like I said, that there's the industry where I function, in the oil and gas space as a service engineer. There are amazing things happening there. Nigeria produces crude, but what do we do with the crude? We export it. When there are lots of things that we can get from the crude. We all did, for those that did sciences in secondary school, we all did fractional distillation, and we all did cracking. If only they told us that when you crack crude, from it you can get rubber, you can get nylon. Name like about 80% of household items. If we knew that early, the only thing most of us know, and I'm also guilty, is oil. Oil. So looking at that, you would know that with informations like this, early, while in school, people can even look at entrepreneurial opportunities into how we can even get infrastructures that can help us into getting what we can get from crude oil. That's oil and gas, sense of it. We can get more beyond crude, such that those things we export at a low rate, and then we import at higher rates. We are losing. We can get more. Engineering development program, what are the advantages? What are the important part of it? Like I said, manufacturability support. You can have design. When you do your design, you do it with the intent that you will create it. So when you do it with the intent that it can be created, that okay, there is a machine that can help me to roll this polymer into a very slim material that I can now use to make a nylon. It would help your design thinking. Project management, when you know that machine does not depend on electrical alone, a mechanical engineer needs to understand the bearing. When you have that understanding, you know that you'll be conscious of the power rating of the machine you are choosing. Because the mechanical engineer that needs to know the bearing and all that will put the right motor inside it. So that's carrying people along on how we interrelate and interface through project management. Then innovation, it will give you opportunity to think more, to think of ways of providing solutions using innovative ideas. We also have a platform. We all know about the SDG goals. We are talking about 2030, all the 17 SDG goals. It's a platform for us to use in developing engineering development programs, wherein you say, Tunde Bose, make sure that you provide a solution.
Okay, we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, Adebola.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Fine.
How is Ifo?
It's fine.
All right, I'm sure you want to ask my guest some questions.
Yes.
Okay, what do you want to say? What do you want to ask her?
The manufacturability of the mechanical industry can be measured through.
Can you come again? I can't clearly hear you, your question.
Like the manufacturability
Okay.
of the mechanical industry.
Okay.
Like how can we know how it's improving?
How can we know how
It is improving.
it is improving? All right. Okay. Then do you have an answer to our question?
Yes.
What's the answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll let you know if you are correct. I guess to answer your question as she rounds off with her presentation. Thank you very much for calling, Adebola.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So, do I respond to that question?
You can just finish up and then respond.
So, like I said, we all talk about the SDG goals. I mean, the program gives us an opportunity to tie it into providing solutions based on how the SDG goals has highlighted some opportunities and objectives for us. So, we have a platform that we can use. We have a platform that we can use into ensuring that engineering development program works. I mean, we can keep saying this and saying this, but if we don't act, we'll still be back to the same position. I love the law of the law of motion by Newton. Always that until an object is in a state of rest, until there is a force that is applied. So we all want to encourage young people in the secondary schools. We want also encourage young engineers, the young undergraduates and graduates, to come into the industry. Yes, they need to do it. They need to give themselves a push. But then we also have those that we call the societies. We have people like myself and who are, even I do have a mentor at my level. And then I'm also mentoring some people. So we need to come in. I say that you can't do it as an island. You're trying to help the young people. You're trying to help the middle level people. But the engineering bodies that we have, foremost the Council of Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, which I'm a registered member. That's what allows you or allows me to use the engineer behind my name. Yeah. The Nigerian Society of Engineers, where we have all engineers who are practicing registered. And I also want to talk about my own main domain, that's the women group, the Association of Professional Women Engineers. These are bodies that can come together and then collaborate with the institutions. Because it's key we go back to the drawing board with the institutions and then look at our curriculum. And they're doing that by going into universities and all that. Look at their curriculum and see how we can make it practicable and then solution-oriented based on our environment. When we're able to provide solutions to our environment, then we can go global and then maximize the opportunity of the SDG goals. I left something blank when I called all the institutions. If the institutions make all this available, you also, as a young engineer or as a young secondary school leaver, needs to take that step of doing something for yourself. Nobody is going to help you to become an engineer. They will give you the ideas and tips, but you need to work hard towards it. So,
all right, we have another caller. Sarah from Akute. Sarah, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you? How is Akute today?
Yes.
Hello, Sarah.
It's fine.
All right. What do you have for us? A question for my guests? Hello, Sarah. I think we lost that. Okay. I would like you to answer Adebola's question before I...
So if I get you or her rightly, like how do we know that manufacturing is improving? Okay. So how do we know that manufacturing is improving? Is when there's a feedback. Do we have a feedback channel?
Okay.
Do we have data? Do we have, if you go online, there are so many data. For instance, I was trying to search that how many engineers do we have in Nigeria? On the portal, we have 40 on the portal, 40,000 engineers. But I know we are more than that. So how do you know that manufacturing is improving? Is when you see more products. I want to say more products made in Nigeria. Most of the things that we import made in Nigeria. I have handbags that I use now. They are made here. That shows that manufacturing is improving. Are we there? No. It can be better. So for me, until you see us use the Nigerian Gucci,
we are not there yet.
We are not there yet.
I would like to ask, when you hear the word automation, what comes to mind is a fear that jobs will be lost.
Yeah.
Is it sacking people or employing more people?
Okay, so I call, even I practice as an automation engineer, but with what I call the new oil now, right? Even if I don't update myself, if I don't improve myself, I may lose my job with the new oil. What is the new oil? Artificial intelligence. If what you know now is what you want to keep applying, yeah, you should know that there is possibility of job loss. But that's not the intent of automation. Automation is meant to reduce repetitive process. The time you put in as human into doing repetitive process will be, when a machine does it, it will do it better. So is that going to be a job loss? I say no if you make yourself relevant in developing yourself as an automation person. Automation has a lot of advantage as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. There's something we call, if you remember while in school, we say error due to parallax.
Yeah.
Because it is human that is trying to look at it.
Look at it. And you can't be sure that you are on the same level.
But when you have a device that checks it for you and then gives you a feedback, you are sure of the data you're getting. And it makes your work easier.
All right. As we round off, you spoke about, I want to do two things at a time. You spoke about how to make it practical, practicality of it. Now, what about those that will impact the knowledge? How do NSC and all impact on them? And secondly, I'd like to speak to the sponsorship of this program, because how do you see it, the person sponsoring it, and how its impact on those young Nigerians as we round off?
Okay, so let me take it from bottom to top. Foremost, Engineer Shilon is doing it. FNSC is a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Is doing a good job with this. If we can get more stations all around the states do this, I'm sure that would have more information spread around for more people. I call it advocacy, awareness, and it's one of the ways of providing solutions to the problem that we're having. So yeah, I really want to commend him. In case he doesn't know, you're making a lot of impact, and it would soon show. I mean, when you enter into a room and you see people say, thank you for the program you sponsored. It's one of that program that made me make up my mind to do this and do that, to be an engineer. And then for the bodies, for the professional bodies, they're doing quite a lot. Let me start with my constituency, Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria. They've gone to the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria and more states to go to, they've gone to the primary schools to do what we call evented buildings, where we do practicals using paper to make boats and water, and then they use it to teach buoyancy. So if you're doing that at that level, a young person will understand the principle when they are taught, looking at that. So they're trying, but more can be done.
All right. They are trying, but more can be done. Courtesy the sponsor of this program, I would like to announce to you the winner of our question for the day. Adeokuta from Ifo, you are our winner for today. So Adeokuta, I know you are watching, call this number 003-684-7505 and claim your prize. The prize is courtesy, the gift rather, is courtesy Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, the sponsor of this program. And for the week, because we have to continue the interaction on our various social media platforms, so our question for the week is, what are the elements that is present in urea? What are the elements that is present in urea? If you know the answer, go on our Facebook page at OGTV, drop your comment, and on Instagram, if you are the winner, would you get your prize to you, courtesy the sponsor. We'll have to go now, our time is up, but next week, we'll come to you with another guest, another topic, and another interesting edition of Engineering and You. Until then, my name is Tunalanyo and I'm saying bye-bye.